tutorial is for 5th grade, Module 4, Lesson 27. In this lesson, we're going to use tape diagrams to help us solve fraction word problems. The first problem says Mrs. Silverstein bought 3 mini cakes for a birthday party. She cut each cake into quarters and plans to serve each guest 1/4 of a cake. How many guests can she serve with all her cakes? And we're to draw a picture to support our response. Well, I'm going to start by writing an answer statement with a blank where the final answer belongs. This will help keep in mind the goal of the problem. So we need to answer how many guests Mrs. Silverstein can serve with her 3 cakes. So I'll say she can serve blank guests with 3 mini cakes. Well, since she's starting with the 3 cakes, I'm going to show those cakes on the tape diagram. So I'll label this as 3 mini cakes. And I'll divide the tape into 3 pieces to show each of those cakes. Now it says she cut each cake into quarters. Well, quarters in fractions would be fourths. So I'm going to divide each cake into 4 pieces. So each cake is being divided into quarters. And that means that each guest will get 1/4. So I'll label this as 1 guest. So 1 guest will get 1/4 of a mini cake. Since the question is how many guests can she serve with the 3 mini cakes, all we need to do is count up how many quarters we have here. So if you look across the tape, I have 12 sections. So she can serve 12 guests with the 3 mini cakes, and each guest will get 1/4 of a cake. The next question says Mr. Pham has 1/4 pan of lasagna left in the refrigerator. He wants to cut the lasagna into equal slices so he can have it for dinner for 3 nights. How much lasagna will he eat each night? So again, we'll start with an answer statement. I will say he will eat blank of the lasagna each night. I'm going to start by showing the full pan of lasagna on my top tape. So we'll label that to show that we're starting off with the full pan. So we'll show that here, full pan. Well, he has 1/4 of the pan left over. So we're going to show the 1/4 that was left. So I'll divide the pan into fourths. And now I'm going to shade in 1/4 to represent the amount of lasagna that was left. So the yellow represents 1/4 pan of lasagna. Now he wants to split that fourth up into equal pieces so he can have dinner for 3 nights. To show that fraction, I'm going to take the 1/4 and I'm going to copy it onto the tape below. And I'll shade in 1/4 and we can see what it looks like after we then divide that fourth into 3 sections for the 3 nights. And here's that 1/4. I'm going to divide it into 3 pieces because he wants to split it across 3 nights. So I'll divide that into 3 pieces. The answer to the question is, how much is this piece compared to the whole pan of lasagna? We want a fraction of the whole pan. Well, to figure out what fraction this piece is of the full pan, I first need to divide the other fourths into 3 pieces as well. Once I've done that, you'll see that the whole pan has been divided into 12 sections. So each of these sections would be 1/12 when you compare it to the full pan. Each of these sections is what he'll eat each night. So he will eat 1/12 of the original full pan of lasagna each night. The next question says the perimeter of a square is 1/5 meter. We're to find the length of each side in meters. Well, the perimeter means the distance around the square, and because it's a square, it has 4 equal sides. So we'll first show 1/5 of a meter. We're going to show that on the top tape so we can see exactly how much 1/5 of a meter is. That means I'm going to label this total tape as 1 meter. And since I'm finding 1/5 of that meter, I'll divide the tape into 5 pieces. 1/5 would then be one of those pieces, and I'm going to shade in that piece so we can see exactly what 1/5 of a meter looks like. Now we need to take that 1/5 of a meter and divide it into 4 sections. Each section will represent one side of the square. I'm going to do that on the tape below. So I'm first going to copy my fifths onto the tape, and then I'll shade in this portion to represent the 1/5 meter that I started with. So I'll divide this 1/5 into 4 sections. Again, each section would represent one side of my square. But the question is, how big is each section compared to the full meter? To find that, I'm going to take the other fifths and divide those into 4 pieces. That will help me figure out how big each piece is compared to the whole. If you look across the tape, we now have 20 sections that make up the whole. So each of these is 1/20th of a meter. And again, these 4 sections are the 4 sides of the square. So each side equals 1/20th of a meter. Now question B says, how long is each side in centimeters? So we know each side is 1/20th of a meter, but we have to figure out how long that is in centimeters. Well, let's see what we know about a meter. A meter is 100 centimeters. So I need to figure out what 1/20th of 100 is. I can use my multiplication facts here. I know that 100 divided by 20 equals 5. And the reason I know that is I'm relating it to money. I know that it takes 20 nickels to make $1. So that's how I'm coming up with my answer. You could use the partial quotient method of division. You could do repeated addition, any method you want to come up with that final answer. But 1/20th of a meter equals 5 centimeters. So each side of the square is 5 centimeters long.